Hello everyone, you're now with me, Ruben Gomez, for TVS News at 5. Let's moving on to the news. Malaysia's king declares state of emergency nationwide, effective today until August 1st, as a proactive measure to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. The decision was made after Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah met with the Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin on Monday.
His Majesty is of the opinion that the transmission of COVID-19 is at a critical stage and there is a need for a declaration of the proclamation of a state of emergency under Article 150 of the Federal Constitution. Comptroller of the Royal Household of Istana Negara, Dato' Ahmad Fadil Shamsuddin, said in a statement that His Majesty decreed that the emergency will last until August 1st or earlier, depending on the state of the infections. Ahmad Fadil said that the proclamation was made for the safety of the people and in the interests of the nation. It is based on the COVID-19 statistics, especially the constraints faced by the logistics in facilities in states, as was presented during the audience. According to the statistics, patients have filled more than 70,000 of the beds in 15 COVID-19 hospitals. Ahmad Fadil added that the Yang di-Pertuan Agong made the proclamation after having consulted the Malay rulers, top government agencies and the civil service.
Lately, there have been attempts by some parties to force for an election to be held. As such, the Parliament and state legislative will be suspended for a stipulated period of time and that elections will not be held during the emergency, which could last until August 1st.
Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said that he has decided against holding a snap election and promised that it would happen as soon as the situation improves. He said his decision is in line with the Islamic concept of higher objectives of the Sharia, which among others stresses on the sanctity of lives.
Keputusan untuk tidak mengadakan pilihan raya semasa pandemik COVID-19 ini masih menular ini adalah selaras dengan satu daripada 5 prinsip maqasid syariah, iaitu menjaga nyawa ataupun hifzun nafs. Dan dalam konteks ini adalah menjadi kewajipan saya sebagai ketua kerajaan untuk menjaga nyawa rakyat dengan melindungi saudara dan saudari sekalian daripada jangkitan COVID-19 ini. Ini adalah kemaslahatan yang paling utama yang dituntut oleh agama Islam.
Nevertheless, Muhyiddin gave a firm commitment that elections will be held once the special independent committee to be set up to manage the COVID-19 situation gives the word that the disease has eased off. The Prime Minister said that at a time when the country and people are facing a major difficulty, it is very important for all politicians to set aside their differences and be in solidarity with the people.
Dalam keadaan biasa, pilihan raya kecil mesti diadakan dalam tempoh 60 hari selepas kerusi diisytiharkan kosong. Pilihan raya negeri juga mesti diadakan dalam tempoh 60 hari selepas Dewan Undangan Negeri dibubarkan. Sedangkan kita tahu, rakyat pada masa ini tidak mahu pilihan raya diadakan untuk mengelakkan wabak COVID-19 merebak seperti yang berlaku selepas pilihan raya negeri Sabah baru-baru ini.
The emergency declaration invoked by the government is not a military coup, nor will there be any curfew imposed. However, the government will continue to perform its functions and duties as usual.
Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin stressed that the emergency declaration by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is not a form of military coup.
Ingin saya tegaskan bahawa darurat yang diisytiharkan oleh Kebawah Duli Yang Maha Mulia Seri Paduka Baginda Yang di-Pertuan Agong bukanlah suatu bentuk rampasan kuasa tentera. Perintah berkurung juga tidak akan dilaksanakan. Sebaliknya, sepanjang tempoh darurat ini, kerajaan awam akan terus berfungsi. Let me assure you that the civilian government will continue to function. The emergency proclaimed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is not a military coup and curfew will not be enforced.
He assured that the judiciary will also continue to function and carry out its duty without any intervention from his government.
Dan jemaah menteri dan Majlis Mesyuarat Kerajaan Negeri-Negeri akan terus berfungsi menurut Perlembagaan Persekutuan dan apa-apa ordinan yang dimasyhurkan oleh Kebawah Duli Yang Maha Mulia Seri Paduka Baginda Yang di-Pertuan Agong daripada semasa ke semasa. Saya memberi jaminan bahawa jentera pentadbiran dan perkhidmatan awam Kerajaan Persekutuan dan kerajaan-kerajaan negeri tidak akan terganggu dengan pengisytiharan darurat ini.
A missing man was believed to have been attacked by a crocodile while fishing in Merane River about 4 a.m. on Tuesday. The victim, identified as Azand Azhar, set out to the river with his father at the said river in Kota Semarahan.
Father Azahar Razali said the last object seen was the flashlight that was used by the victim to pull the troll.
Masih nunggu juga lah. Mungkinnya ada timbul ke ada apa ke katanya. Tapi langsung saya dah lah. Cuma dalam kurang lebih dalam masa 1 minit, lampu suluh yang dipakainya yang terletak di palanya timbul.
According to the Fire and Rescue Department spokesman, the department received report of the incident at 6:45 a.m. Following the report, a search and rescue SAR operation was activated with 11 firefighters from the Kota Semarahan fire station deployed to the scenes.
A man was detained by the General Operations Forces in Siburan for possessing more than 2.6 billion ringgit worth of illicit cigarettes.
Sarawak GOF Commander SAC Mancha Atta said the raiding team found 17,100 cartons of various brands of contraband cigarettes at a house at Taman Shunli, Siburan at 12:05 a.m. on Monday. The value seizure is estimated to be worth more than 2.6 million ringgit. The raid was carried out following police surveillance at the area over suspicions that the premises was used as a storage centre to store the unpaid duty illicit goods. Mancha pointed out that the man was arrested to facilitate investigation under Section 135, Subsection 1, Subsection D of the Customs Act 1967.
AirAsia Group Berhad said domestic flights in Malaysia remain operational across several states and federal territories from tomorrow until January 26. The budget airline company said, in efforts to curb the spread of the COVID-19 virus, guests who do not wish to travel during this period can opt to cancel their flights voluntarily.
The statement also indicated that guests can also opt for unlimited flight changes without any additional cost when changed to any new travel date before March 31st on the same route for an unlimited number of times without any additional cost subject to seat availability. For essential travel during this period, AirAsia said guests must obtain a valid approval from the Royal Malaysia Police before departure. Guests also need to comply with the specific entry requirements set by certain states.
A seasonal productions uptick of the Malaysia's crude palm oil CPO coupled with weaker export demand will help replenish stocks and consequently drive prices down. MIDF research projected CPO prices will continue to increase in the first quarter of 2021 on the back of anticipated supply tightness and higher export demand.
However, MIDF presumes CPO prices will soften in the second half of this year due to better production levels and lower export demand. It set its CPO target price at 2,700 ringgit level per tonne this year and maintained its neutral stance on the sector. The average CPO spot price increased by 6.1% month-on-month to 3,650 ringgit 98 cent per tonne in December 2020. Mainly, this is in view of possible supply tightness on a low inventory level, recovery in export demand, anticipation of lower production due to labor shortage and the monsoon season. After the movement control order enforcement announced by the Prime Minister, MIDF remained cautious about the production level due to a lower workforce as well as SOP. A lack of labor would lead to delays in harvesting activities, impacting the quality of fruit bunches.
Well, that concludes TVS News at 5. Remember, tonight 11:30 p.m. with Cheryl Shamina Toh for the Nightline. Ruben Gomez, anytime, anywhere. Thank you.